Zhiliu has finally released in version 1.2. She's the most complex yet stunning character added to the game. In this video, I'll go over her build, what teams you could run, and talk about her combo rotations I personally prefer. This video is long overdue, so let's just jump straight into it. Let's start off with Zhiliu's weapons first. So start off with her weapons, I'm going to run the S-Crest Duo for the skill intensity that it provides, comboed with her actual signature melee, the Eternal Farewell. You can, if you decide to, switch it up, and you can run things like Wayne Wraith instead for skill intensity, so you can have the mobility with Zhiliu, and then you can run something akin to like Thunderworm, one of those kind of weapons, like any kind of ranged weapon you necessarily want. But this is the combo I'm going to be running in my build. I don't really care too much about the rest. So moving on, let's talk about her actual talents. So in not say talents. Well, yeah, we'll say talents. Skills off rip. I leveled 8 everything across the board, but if I had to choose priority, I'm definitely gonna say max out your Q. Your Q is the most important thing to max out on Zhiliu. This is the buff she provides to herself, the dragon, and the swords. This is the main source of her damage. Highly recommend if you are someone who's like very what's the word I'm looking for? If you're very cautious about what you want to use your tread fates, like you don't want to like waste your resources, right? I'd prioritize the Q first, then the passive, then after that I'd use your treads to max out the E skill. Q first, passive second, E third. That's how I'd organize it. Moving on, we're going to talk about her actual demon wedges on a character itself. Now, this all looks pretty simple. You guys are probably used to this format, probably familiar with it already. We are running Ravaging Thunder on her with Prime Morale. Zhiliu actually does benefit from Ravaging Thunder because of how often you're going to be popping your skills to do certain combo inputs. You actually increase your skill intensity, which is very important, the main aspect of Ravaging, right? So I saw someone before talking about it, and they were trying to argue that Ravaging Thunder isn't good on Zhiliu, like this the point in it. But the uptime on Zhiliu, I do think is still important. You are giving yourself a huge increase here, especially when you look at her actual skill multipliers, how much intensity that really is being added from Ravaging Thunder. So I just gotta throw that out there for anyone who's also thinking the same thing. You definitely want this piece. Prime Morale, obviously Morale is like the best buff you can provide. There's nothing else that will actually benefit Zhiliu other than Morale, so slap this bad boy on. Then moving on, we're going to run Thundering Wildfire. I'm using Thunder Wildfire over the Duration one. Personally, I don't think the Duration one is needed. She does have an AFK farm inside her kit, especially at I think it's either her I1 or I2. I'm gonna say I2 to be safe, in which her dragon that we spawn in, you can actually summon the white dragon or the black dragon. The white dragon, when it spawns in, it has infinite uptime and it only drains her sanity slightly. I say slightly because of the new wings inspo we got and everything like that, to where you won't even notice it, right? She pretty much has infinite uptime, so duration isn't needed for that. Other than that, without it, you still are looking at around 20 or 30 seconds of uptime on her ability naturally when you're spamming your abilities. So in my opinion, it's best to just prioritize range. Moving onward, I'm using Volition. I got 2 Volition setups here with 2 Morale setups. I did test it with three Morales and 1 Volition, and I'll be honest, I didn't really notice too much of a difference. It was very similar. Like 1 minute, the double Volitions were definitely outperforming the Morale, and then next thing you know, the Morale one was kind of like teeter-tottering, like just trying to like keep up with the Volition one. Might require more testing. I didn't go 4 Morale yet, so stay tuned for another video of me going 4 Morale versus 2 Volition, 2 Morale combos, and see which one's better. But as of right now, that's the verdict I sat on around this time period. This video was long overdue, so here we go. I am running the Volition Feathered Serpent. They did come out with another one. They came out with the Prance Spectrum. This one is supposed to give you skill range. I wish I could use this on Zhiliu. If I'm honest, I wouldn't mind sacrificing a little bit of my damage for more range, just to like nuke the entire map's existence, right? But unfortunately, you're kind of hard locked into using the triangles or the up arrows, and that kind of defeats the purpose of the kit. So I do hope that eventually one day Hero Games removes this restriction and just say screw it, you can just use it, right? Add more diversity to her kit. So that's it for her wedges. Now I want to talk about her teammates. Let's talk about that right away, because I know most people are probably curious. Well, Render, who does Zhiliu pair with? Is there any specific introns too that I would recommend? Introns, definitely I2. I2 is usually always the main thing you want to get. That's usually like the bread and butter that changes the character entirely, makes them more viable and stuff like that. It's usually the I2. So you want to get the I2s always. Again, for the permanent dragon if you want to AFK farm. And then I really don't think anything is really necessary. Like everything is like just pretty much upscaling on her damage buffs. The I4 is nice, right? Gives her more attack, but like again, it's just everything else is just like upscales. I would definitely say I2 just for the game change. If you could try to push that out or whatever, if you had to spend money like just a little bit, I would definitely say I2. All right, now teammates though, let's talk about introns. I'm all over the place here. Teammates, personally, Truffle, hands down right now, is still just the absolute best inside the game. She's a monster. Even if you don't have her I2, right? Truffle still provides a mean damage buff. She provides damage boost inside her kit. If most of you don't know, if you're brand new to the game, I am seeing more new players, so welcome everyone who's new. Her damage buff that she provides comes from her E skill, and I do have her I4 and I have the skill max as you can see, so my damage boost is 103%. You're probably looking around like 80% damage boost or something like that. So just as like a temporary kind of Yu Ming until Yu Ming actually releases, this is the character that I would probably say I'd recommend using, or until you can get Yu Ming, even like during the time period that you're watching this video. Another character I would recommend is characters like Margie. Margie's super great to have on your team. What Margie does is she provides an 85% attack increase to your allies, which is honestly kind of insane. There's no other character who provides like an attack buff or attack boost, I should say, like that in particular, right? Like other characters, they provide like all different kinds of buffs, but that is one right there I'll throw out there. With the new inspo sets that we have right now currently until Yu Ming releases, I do sometimes like to combo Sybil into my my Zhiliu teams. And if you're wondering why I like to use Sybil inside my Zhiliu teams, is because I can put the Prime Wings inspo Morel on Sybil, and then on Zhiliu I run the Primed Wings inspo Volition. Sorry, I'm like tripping up on my words here, because they don't stack, right? So with the Morale boosting the Volition one, I get more damage out of there. And then Sybil also, she provides a 50% attack boost. So if you do have a built Sybil, if you do have both of the inspos already pre-farmed up and you're just looking for a temporary boost, this is not a bad team to run right now until Yu Ming comes out. Again, for the people who are a little bit more advanced, I would recommend a Sybil on your team for now, until Yu Ming can replace her, right? Or hey, keep both, right? Next, I would also recommend Randy, believe it or not. Randy for the same reasons as Sybil, except for the fact that Randy doesn't provide an attack boost, but he can still slap on the morale with the Wings Inspo morale. Another thing that Randy can provide to the team is, depending on what trial rank you are, say you're doing, I don't know, level 99 wave cap and you're having a hard time because like maybe you're not getting like the big buffs off your character like I am, because I'm TR 65. Randy would actually be good for lower TR players and stuff like that, at least in my opinion. As long as you're like TR 60, I would say you're pretty much, you know, cake. You're good to use Randy. What Randy will do is make it easier for you at wave cap to eliminate some of the enemy shields, so that way usually you can just instantly nuke everything on the board, and you can keep like AFK farming to your content. And then obviously when we get into the summit, I think Randy will also be a good character to have on your team for summit, because again, he'll be nerfing all of their shields and stuff like that, allowing Zhiliu to just instantly clear and just big bonk everything, right? So there is that niche scenario for Randy to exist on your team. Zhiliu does hit really hard, so you don't have to worry about sacrificing, you know, one of your like AI companions. Anyways, there are going to be some people who are going to use rhythm. You can use rhythm with Zhiliu. I personally don't, mainly because, well, there's no reason to have two big dogs on the field, right? I mean, you can have them on the field, but if I'm playing Zhiliu, I want to play with Zhiliu. My Zhiliu does still out DPS my rhythm, just as a note, but you know, sometimes it just takes a little bit longer for an enemy to come in, and then well, my Zhiliu will still come out with more damage dealt than my rhythm, and my rhythm is pretty built. If you guys seen my rhythm video, she's stacked, and as you can see, all of her skills are maxed out, and Zhiliu still out DPSs her. So there's that. It's just rhythm just gets more kills, but Zhiliu still has more damage dealt. Yu Ming, on the other hand, though, Yu Ming, when he drops, hands down, he's going to be one of the best in slot characters to have. Definitely throw him out there. And then lastly, I would probably say, actually, lastly, getting two other honorable mentions. Tabitha is another character who is good with Zhiliu team comps right now because of skill damage, right? Tabitha will give you more skill damage, which is different than skill intensity. So I'm going to quickly, briefly explain this for new players. So skill intensity increases the multipliers in which like your ability actually does damage. Well, it increases the multipliers of the skills, right? In a way, it's kind of like skill damage, but the skill damage is like the after effect or whatever, or like it's counted after the initial damage of the skill intensity. It's like they're multiplicative of each other, right? So skill damage is important. Just that's all I'm gonna sit there and say. I probably didn't explain it too well, but skill damage is the after effect. Skill intensity is like the before result, right? So before the result comes, think of skill intensity. After the result hits, think of skill damage. And that's why skill damage is still good. So Tabitha does actually serve a purpose on your team. If you decide you want to get a little bit more damage off, or you need that extra help, and let's say you have her farmed up and the other characters aren't, who knows, you might be a returning player. All right, moving on. Fushu, can't skip over Shorty Bay. I'm so sorry about her, right? Fushu is another character I definitely recommend on your team. Main reason why Fushu is super solid on a team is because Fushu, she provides sanity. So if you're doing like a perma AFK farm, at least you'll have sanity in the background for for your Zhiliu. On top of that, she provides morale boost. She gives you skill speed, which does help Zhiliu actually get off her swords a little bit faster, and like get the dragon out whenever that's happening. I'm not gonna lie, it doesn't feel too noticeable, but it's noticeable. Like you notice it, but not like too crazy, right? But you do notice it, so it's kind of like a quality of life, but not fully. Next with Zhiliu or Fushu is because she can get on the, what is it? Right now I'm tired. The Frosty Turret set. There you go. Frosty Turret. It's a really good set. It gives you like 275 attack to your character. It's the closest thing we got right now to Truffle. Truffle with the 300 attack, and hers is 275. It's not too far off, close enough, right? A flat attack being added to your Zhiliu, so that's really nice. And then lastly, the skill intensity cap is also really good as well for Zhiliu. So Fushu is definitely a must-have on the team, in my opinion. I think her spot is solidified until like Yu Ming comes out, and then arguably, you know, maybe like another Electro character. But I think Fushu is gonna be on 90% of the Zhiliu team, hands down. And then you got Fina. In Fina, most people are probably only gonna abuse Fina just because of like the pin stat ignore that she gives. So whenever you have pin, you're gonna have the pin stacking with Zhiliu's pin, and that's gonna be kind of crazy. So Fushu, or so Fina at I1, if you have this character, this might be someone for you as well that you might see on some team. comps. All right. And those are all of your companion options. So it's not bad. Zhiliu definitely has some teams to play around with. Let's talk about her Genie Mons. In terms of Genie Mons, in my opinion, I still use a Shiny Broboxy for every little thing imaginable. There is no other Genie Mon, in my opinion, that like just beats Boxy right now. He's just too strong to use. Except for like the few niche game modes. So in terms of niche game modes, if you're looking for if you are someone who buys the battle pass, the electric elf is hands down the best in the slot. I'm not gonna lie, the Genie Mon's hella pay to win. Most people probably say no, it isn't. There's no other way to get this Genie Mon, right? At least from my understanding right now. I haven't seen any way to get this specific Genie Mon other than the battle pass. And it's a really strong one, man. You get electric attack, you get your Typhon mods increase, your Covenanters, all that stuff. And then you also increase your skill damage while also restoring sanity to yourself. And that's kind of insane. So this is really huge on Zhiliu if you really want to maximize your DPS, your damage. You don't really care too much about farming anymore, like with Frugal and all that stuff from Broboxy. I would recommend Electric Elf, especially for the summit coming out soon. This would be the one I would probably recommend, and then also get Fierce. For my absolute free-to-plays, people who don't want to spend money on this game at all, another one you can use, you can grab this bad boy here, the Shiny Cobalt. This one is pretty good. The only downside to this one is that it's an RNG, right? You are randomly applying like the attack percent, skill duration, skill intensity on yourself, but you are passively always getting the electric attack increase, so that is nice. It's not as crazy noticeable as something like the electric elf. And then the other one you can use too is going to be the Shiny Catis. Now the Shiny Catis, what this one does, it does restore your sanity, so that's nice for people who have sanity issues. And it will provide you a bigger boost to your electric attack versus the Cobalt though. And it will give you a boost to like your Phoenix wedges and stuff, and that's about it. So those are your only options right now in terms of Genie Mons. I don't know what else I would really recommend. The traits you're definitely going to want though is going to be Fierce on everything. Everyone should know this by now, but again, if you're brand new, Fierce is this trait in which it increases your character attack. If you have a gold one, it's by 24%. So definitely go out of your way to go farm your Genie Mons and go get you a gold Fierce. That is something I would definitely recommend as a trait on your units. If we want to talk about weapons, some honorable mentions for weapons as well while we are here for Zhiliu. Wayne Wraith for the spear is always good. If you want more range, if you're fine with Zhiliu's damage and you're like someone who's like, okay, for ordinary purposes, I just want to farm more, just like blow up everything in my sight. With their shade is always good, you know, skill range there. You could try the Jade Halberd. I don't think the Jade Halberd will actually increase the damage dealt to enemies like it does for like Rebecca and Rhythm. Maybe it does. I haven't really tried it out too much, but this is something you could try playing around with. And I want to say that's really it. Other than that, you're probably just going to be using your duration-based weapons and skill intensity-based weapons on Zhiliu. But Zhiliu's fun. So one last thing I want to say too before I end this video is Zhiliu is super cracked with how much morale she does. Weapons are so strong with her, and with the most recent buffs, it feels great, right? So you can use like almost any of these weapons. Like you gotta take the Daybreak Hemp for a shot. I'm not going to showcase it here, but I just want to definitely throw that out there. All right, so now that we got done talking about Genie Mons, companions, weapons, and all that good stuff, and showing off the demon wedges for Zhiliu, let's talk about her skills, like her actual combos that she does. So Zhiliu is a very interesting character. I have different combo rotations. Your rotation might look different than mine, but I just want to sit here and break this down for you. So when you tap E, you'll summon like this bell. Double tap E, you have two bells. Two bells summon swords. So if I push her Q, swords come down, right? If you hold E, however, you get this weird triangle looking thing. I'm going to call it a triangle. It's like a mountain, but I'm going to say triangle, right? And if you hold E twice, Now we have the Ultra Shield, and if I push Q, or your ultimate, you now buffed yourself. So down to the bottom left, next to my HP bar here, you'll see I have this uptime here that's letting me know I just buffed my damage further and everything like that. What we're gonna do now with Zhiliu is we're gonna tap E once, and now you summon the dragon. If you have her I1 or her I2, I'm gonna say I2. If you have her I2, if you hold E, or hold Q, sorry, if you hold Q, instead, you'll spawn in the white dragon instead of the black dragon. In the white dragon, as you can see here, my field is now purple instead of gold. And what this does is essentially it drains my sanity now instead of my duration. Drain my duration, kind of funny. And enemies that walk into this field obviously take AoE damage and they'll just die passively. So this is how you AFK farm with Zhiliu for people and for future references. For whenever you want to, like, you know, just go AFK, go run off in a distance or something like that, head to work, come back home, whatever the case may be, this is what you do with Zhiliu. And as you can see here, the drain of the ability is very minor compared to how much I'm actually gaining back. I can stay here for a while with characters like Fushu, with the idea of you actually killing mobs and stuff like that. You'll essentially always have 100% uptime on this ability. So my combo rotation, what I like to do, how I like to start off every single encounter, I double hold E, I buff, I push E once, right? Then I push Q, my dragon spawns in, I double tap E twice, and now I summon my sword. And then with the trigger probabilities, sometimes I might even have to tap again, and you can just spam this non-stop. This is how I boss. This is the combo I personally like to do. So one last final time is usually I double hold E, I press Q, I tap E, summon dragon, tap E one more time. Now I have swords. And this is my Zhiliu's rotation. Hopefully this video helped you learn how to play Zhiliu and figure out how you want to build her. Follow my channel for more videos on characters. Like and subscribe, I'd really appreciate that. And you can check me out live over on Twitch, where I try to stream every single day and hang out with viewers, whether we're farming. I play all types of gacha games, be it Wuthering Waves, soon to be NTE whenever that drops. DNA mainly is my main game. And then I'm slowly getting back to things like Apex Legends as well. So you'll catch me all over the place, but I'm mainly a gacha streamer now as we speak. Oh, and Crimson Desert. That's not a gacha game, but Crimson Desert. Forgive me, guys. If you follow my channel and you see me playing Crimson Desert and you're probably wondering where this guy went, it's because I'm playing that game. I waited years for this game, okay? All right. Love you guys. Stay blessed. I'll catch you in the next one.